Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to talk about the release of, well, the teaser trailer for Fallout 76, the newest of the Fallout games, because I'm a big Fallout fan. It plays so much into history, well, alternative history, of what could have happened, um, a Cold War that never really ended, the 1950s style Red Scare paranoia that remained without the dying down of the 1980s glasnost. So it's definitely a game I kind of enjoy because of its historical context that it has. Um, that being said, let's get into a little bit of what we know. Fallout 76 has the song Country Roads by John Denver playing in it. Now, we do know that Vault 76 is mentioned 3 times. I didn't just mention Country Roads and then walk away from it. I'm piecing it together here, so stick with me. Country Roads. Well, now we know Vault 76 mentioned 3 times. One, it's in Fallout 4 at the very opening when the newscaster is given his report, and he talks about the opening of Vault 76. Um, for the tercentenary, the tercentenary. There we go. Hard word to say. Curse you, Romans, in your Latin. Um, but the tercentenary. Um, just like you would hear anybody, which means the 300-year celebration, causing 2076. We have 1776 to 1876, 1876 to 1976, and 1976 to 2076. 300 years. Um, and of course, anybody you call who's reached 100 years of age a centenarian. I think it's right. A centenarian. Yeah. Just like you would call someone who's in their 80s an octogenarian. So, regardless, the first mention of Fallout was in that broadcast in Fallout 4. Well, it's not the first, but it's a mention. A second mention of Fallout is, of course, where we get the most information, um, and that's in the Citadel. If you go into the computer talking about the vaults, the DC area vaults, you can see all the vaults listed, and one of them is Vault 76. Vault 76 is, of course, according to the information, a control vault set to open up 20 years following the bombs dropping. So, and finally, I can't remember what the third mention of Vault 76 is. Oh yeah, Spaceship Zeta, Mothership Zeta, the DLC there. You have somebody who was working on it that was kidnapped by the Zetans. Um, so that's your 3 mentions of Fallout 76 or Vault 76. Now, as I said, they played Country Roads by John Denver in the video. And with a lot of things Bethesda does, there's always a bit of a hidden meaning. In the Citadel, Fallout 3, it lists all those vaults. But in Fallout 3, you can find their locations, except for Vault 76. And the feeling is it's probably in that western tip of West Virginia, which tells us a lot about where it's located. I don't think it's going to be heavily in West Virginia. It'll be in the western tip there, because if you've ever looked at a map, you have the upper finger and then it's kind of a circle, and then it does this kind of scraggle. When it ends off, it's not that far from DC. So the idea of it being in West Virginia is not that unusual. So I think we could see it in that kind of eastern, sorry, I'm directionally challenged here, apparently. The eastern, the eastern little scraggle, the eastern little arm. So yeah. So I would imagine it's in there. Now, a bit of history. Um, for those of you that did not know, there was a bunker, a vault, if you will, hidden under the Greenbrier Hotel in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. It was for congressional and presidential members and their families during the Cold War. But officially, the last president to visit the hotel was Dwight D. Eisenhower. So it's no longer registered and you are considered a place for presidential and congressional members. But during the Cold War, it was. So the idea of a bunker or vault in West Virginia kind of has some roots in the real world. I don't think it'll be as far into West Virginia as White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. But it will still be in West Virginia, in that little eastern hand, I believe. So we have that. Now, as far as rumors are it's a multiplayer online game, which I don't think it'll be an MMO. That's not Bethesda's style. No. I think there will be base building a la via Fallout 4, because they did work on it quite a bit. And we could see a little more refined system. I don't think we'll see as many of the mutated animals because you're only 25 years after the bomb was dropped. We will have death claws because we know those were pre-war. So there very well may be death claws. Um, ghouls. Some of the ghoulification can happen quite quickly, so we'll probably have some ghouls. Um, and some of the other animals, Yaoguais, maybe um, some rad roaches, but I think we'll also have some other wildlife because even after a nuclear apocalypse like that, it'll take some time for everything, certain species to die off. Um, there will still be attempts to survive and adapt. So we'll probably see some unusual wildlife. Um, and the Appalachian Mountains that runs through West Virginia, it's a very mountainous state. I mean, its college's name is the Mountaineers, after all. But if you've ever been to West Virginia, it's a very mountainous state, very up and down the mountains. Um, and I don't live too far from West Virginia. So, although I've never been, kind of odd how that works. But I've got an idea of kind of what, just based on this area, what the animals would be like. You would probably see some rad stag, a number of deer, because deer are quite common. The wildlife in the area is quite common with rabbits and um, possums. You have a number of turtles, lizards, and raccoons, and you have a number of different snakes, um, from uh, the rattlesnake to the copperhead to just black snakes or racer snakes, I think they're officially called. We just call them black snakes because they're just black. But um, hmm, I think there will be a little more color because it hasn't quite all died. The fallout may have settled in a lot of places, but um, it's not as prevalent in the ground yet to kill a lot of the wildlife. It will still have killed a bunch of it. It'll mutated a bunch of it. Um, and that's another thing. We will have areas that are still highly, highly radioactive. Because this is 25 years after the bombs dropped. You imagine some of the areas you get in New Vegas or Fallout 3 with their high rads. And that's 200 years. Well, this is 25 years. So there will be some areas with high radiation. So I imagine Rad-X and Radaway will be a very, very valuable commodity. And you probably cannot drink straight from a water source without some kind of filtration, thus the base building. You want to build next to a water source, but you want to be able to filter it. So I imagine that will happen. I may be wrong, but that's just how I kind of see it. Let's see. But yeah, that's that's one thing. Oh yeah, thing you should keep in mind in the video. The man's vault suit is not the normal blue and yellow, it's blue and gold, which West Virginia's color is blue and gold. Think of the West Virginia Mountaineers and their school colors, blue and gold. Well, blue and gold, that's not intentional, but it happened. um, but yeah, vault suit's blue and gold. Um, Now, let's see. I'm trying to think of other things. Oh, back to the rumors. Um, I do want to mention that, they talk about base building and it being multiplayer and online. I do see base building, but here's the thing. Bethesda's key has always been a story-based world, a single-player story-based. They say they wanted to try Fallout or try multiplayer in Fallout. So I think they will have a multiplayer capability, quite the way a Monster Hunter does, in that you can invite a person into your um, base from online. That's where I see it being an online type of game and it being multiplayer. But I do believe it is still single player. I mean, for goodness sakes, not long ago, Bethesda had the video up, Save Single Player, starring Linda Carter. I don't see it being in, there's no way it'll be an MMO. You can forget that. So, I think you might have multiplayer capabilities, but I still believe it'll more than likely be a um, very single player playable story. It's not Bethesda style to really go after a multiplayer audience. Now, I may be wrong, but I get the feeling that it's going to be still a very single player story based game. I do think there will be base building. Like I said, Fallout 4 was very much working on building up your place, that kind of thing. So, um, let's see. Now, let's take a look at that video, the teaser trailer. Okay. Now, you'll notice at the very beginning, the police stand by. color, not black and white. Again, this is only 25 years after the bombs dropped, so there still will be some color broadcasts going on. You won't have any, I don't think you'll have any actual shows, but the actual Please Stand By being in color, that's a very good probability. So, alright, Bethesda Game Studios, and now, it starts off like it's going to play I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire by the Ink Spots, but then switches. And the date, 27th of October, 2102. That's how we know it's 25 years after the bombs dropped on the Pip-Boy. And he's got the alarm clock with the Vault-Tec radio on the screen. And it's one of the early 2000 model Pip-Boys. So that's pretty good. I can't make out what the magazine is. I don't know what they were reading, what kind of comic book or magazine they were reading. But you can already see you got the party hat and the little party cup. Jangles the Moon Monkey on the bed, along with a fedora and a backpack. So, the vault is still operational, still functions pretty well, even after likely having been cleared, because we know it was meant to be cleared 20 years after the bombs dropped, but the game is set 25 years. So the possibility is you're either just now leaving the vault, or you're a scavenger who's went into the vault and seen what he can pick up. So because you have the backpack and the fedora. Ah, good evening. Go back a bit. Now, in the background, you see an owl, you see the cat, and the guy cooking the marshmallows, the Vault Boy cooking the marshmallows at the campfire. Good evening, as a sign of, the nighttime. Now, it switches over to good morning. Let's finish there. And you have the sun in the sky, the Vault Boy drinking a cup of coffee, and the flowers on the ground. And you have a little rabbit and a rooster. Again, animals that could appear. So you could have rad rabbits, rad roosters, rad chickens, something like that. So that's a possibility. A little worm on top of the G. Trying to see if there's any other clues here, but I don't really see any. You can see the slippers in the floor, of golf clubs in the golf bag. Alright. Now, the first thing you see on the next scene, an Unstoppables board game. And I'm not sure the name of the drink there. It's obviously not a Gwyneth and not a Nuka-Cola, but it is what it is. And then you have, it looks like a harmonica in the one chair while guitar's leaned up on the other. So a little jam session apparently they had there. On the shelves you see a bunch of books, a jack-o'-lantern, let's see, blast radius board games along with other board games. And then you have um, a camera, looks like a teapot, and um, a bird cage on the top. So, irradiated birds. We did see the picture of the owl in the Good Evening, so it's a probability. You do see the skull on the wall posted up there, along with the sign 1776 to 2076, celebrating the 300 years of America. In fact, it says Vault Tech salutes America, Vault 76. Now, you have the news broadcast as you're cutting in here. You see a little TV that's playing the broadcast. And of course, this has got to be a recorded broadcast because, in all likelihood, there's not much broadcasting left as far as actually going out with actual shows. The chances are slim. But on the shelf, you see a soldier man next to a Jeep, and below him, it looks like a box of bobby pins with an iBot model. On the bottom shelves, you see a number of books. In fact, one of them says Scout's Life, which I guess is a reference to the Lad's Life magazines. Let's turn it around a little more. Now, on the other side of there, you see the Mr. Handy model and the Vault Boy statue giving the thumbs up. On the top, you see a bottle and Cappy figurines, and behind them, a Nuka-Cola rocket. While the announcement to rebuild plays on the TV. All right, now we get to a bookshelf, a number of placards and trophies inside, and it doesn't take long to switch to a washer and dryer in the laundry room. You see all kinds of household items, the Abraxo cleaner, a baseball, laundry basket, an iron, hairbrush. On the side there, you notice there's a Giddy Up Buttercup poking out, which is interesting. And you peek into the bathroom. And above the toilet, you notice the first aid box, and you have this soap on the counter, and pretty basic facilities. Let's see. Next, we have a picture. You see a picture of the desk, the terminal on top. Beside it, you have a Nuka World mug and a carved owl. I guess there's a clock in the background. Carved owl clock. But again, another reference to an owl. Just maybe by chance, but there may be something to do with owls in the game. It's hard to really say. Now, on the terminal, you are invited, and it has a little Vault Boy pop up out of the envelope. I mean, this may be some kind of clue that you can invite people to play with you, thus making it multiplayer capability. But on up, you have a shelf with a Nuka-Cola truck on it. And then it cuts to a picture of the Vault cafeteria. On the table, it looks like they were eating breakfast. You can see a tin of coffee in the background, and on the table, sugar bombs and Fancy Lad snack cakes with a number of utensils and glasses and plates. knocked over the cup. So either they left in a hurry or it's been clear that it's not been occupied for a little while. Then it shows a picture of the vault. It has balloons up, and you'll notice at the bottom of the vault, if you look at the bottom, they've got a little indoor pitch, a little soccer pitch, a little soccer field there. So then in the background, you have the poster, Celebrate Reclamation Day, the reclaiming of America. And they have the little Vault Boy cutouts standing up and stuff. Then you get to the picture of the man who slaps the Pip-Boy onto his arm. He's wearing the vault suit. So, like I said, I don't know if it's that he's just leaving the vault or if it's a scavenger who's found his way into what was left of Vault 76. So it's kind of curious. Straps on that Pip-Boy, shows the back of his vault suit. And title. Fallout.com. And that is our video for a look at the teaser trailer for Vault 76. Officially, we really don't honestly know much of anything other than Schreier and all these other guys can claim what they want and make these leaks. But other than the teaser trailer, we can only speculate at this point. It's just what's in the trailer that we know for certain. It's West Virginia, Vault 76. And that's, honestly, that's probably it that we can really, truly speculate upon. There's other leaks, other claims, and it's interesting. But until we get more information, which E3's on the 10th of June, so at the end of this week, there's nothing we can really do. But for now, that's Fallout 76. Now, on other topics, educate thyself as always. Study, read, learn, practice new languages, take in new information. Actual knowledge, not just claims and junk, not just fake stuff. There's a difference in understanding. Yes, you can read this or that, but you have to know, you have to understand what is real, what isn't. But know that even the fake stuff has value in that it can tell you this or that. But read, study, learn, educate thyself. I implore you. But for now, thank you all for watching my video. I will talk to you all again later.